My promotion was to go down to the morgue and watch the pathologist cut the bodies open and deliver me a fresh colon. And then I had to go back to the laboratory, slit them open, clean them out for the scientists to do their studies on them. Just let me tell you, these colons were not the colons of some young, active vegan who was hit by a car.
Give it up for Stuart Jacobson.
Thank you, Frank. I hope I'm not going to disappoint you or anybody else. There's always that chance. Anyway, my father had a friend who was in the front lines in World War II. And one night there was a mortar attack. And he jumped into what he thought was the nearest foxhole. And it turned out to be a latrine, a little shithole. But it saved his life. And when I heard that story, I said to myself, God damn it, I'm never going to want to live my life where I have to be redeemed by being in a pile of shit. And let me just tell you, I was wrong. Okay. Now, I go to college, and I decide I want to study, go to graduate school, I want to study biology. I'm living in New York City, and I want to take a year off, to have some fun before I go back to school. I get a job at the Sloan Kettering Institute for Cancer Research, which is a prestigious place in Manhattan. And I'm working in a colon cancer laboratory. And the laboratory, I'm a low man on the totem pole, new guy there. I'm doing whatever anybody wants me to do. And the laboratory had a joint project with the laboratory at NYU Medical School, which is a little further down, lower down in Manhattan. Now, I was in desperate need of a good letter of recommendation from the head of the laboratory, guys to be the equivalent of, let's say, a full professor. And this was a guy, his name was Dr. Bayless. And Dr. Bayless was a biochemist, but his real specialty was putting you in the spot. He had this ability to just look over his glasses at you and just stare at you till you crumbled. Now, one day he calls me into his office, which is not a good thing, but he asked me in there, and he says, Stuart, I want you have to take some test tubes down to NYU Medical Center because they have to look at them. They have to examine them. So I said, sure, what's in them? And he says to me, it's got radioactively labeled samples. So I said, okay, you're going to have me go with the courier service. He says, no, you're the courier. And he flips a subway token to me. This was in the days before they had Metro cards, subway tokens. So I said, what do you mean? I'm going to have to take this fucking stuff in the subway? I didn't say fucking stuff, but it's in the subway. And he looks over his glasses and he says to me, yes. Then he takes out a Bloomingdale's bag, which is like, a sign of I guess it's like going through the French Foreign Legion. It gives you immunity. And so I put this box of test tubes in Bloomingdale bags, and I'm thinking to myself, I need this letter from this guy. I got to please this guy. And I'm going to the subway, and I'm on the subway. I'm thinking, if something goes wrong, the whole east side of Manhattan's going to be fucked. And all because I want to go to graduate school. Now, I did this a couple of times, never feeling very good about it, always feeling that everybody's looking at me, everybody's looking at my Bloomingdale's bag, and I just hope that there's no accident, that it gets stolen from me. And in addition to this, I was single at the time, and I was doing a lot of dating. And I'd be, having dinner, having a drink with, whoever I was dating, the woman I was dating, and she'd say to me, what'd you do today? And I couldn't tell her the truth, that I was basically putting the half of Manhattan at risk, But so instead, I would just clam up. Now, when you clam up on a date, it doesn't look good for the prospects of the rest of the evening, basically. Nobody wants to, go to bed or have sex with somebody who's just all clammed up and tightened and doesn't want to open up. So I was really feeling really crappy about this. And I said, fuck Dr. Bayless, fuck this. I'm going to go have a different career. I'm going to quit. And I got a promotion. And I said, well, this is a colon cancer laboratory. It's attached to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which is a cancer hospital where people come all over the world basically for treatment, and most of them die there. But they're giving the body to science, most of them. And our laboratory was in the list for a organ donation of fresh colons. Now, and my promotion was to go down to the morgue and watch the pathologist cut the bodies open and deliver me a fresh colon. And then I had to go back to the laboratory, slit them open, clean them out for the scientists to do their studies on them. Just let me tell you, these colons were not the colons of some young, active vegan who was hit by a car. They were the colons of people who, for the last couple of months of their life, immobilized in bed, on a hospital diet, on a lot of morphine, which means they were constipated. And they were full of this awful pasty shit. Okay, so I would have to go open them up, clean them out, and give them to the scientists. But I felt so good about this. I felt this was cleansing for me compared to bringing radioactive samples, schlepping them in the subway. So I would be on a date that night, and the woman said to me, "What'd you do today?" So I said, "I went to the morgue, I brought back a fresh colon, I cleaned them out, and for the scientists to do their studies on them." I was so excited and so happy, but I didn't get the response I thought I would get. So anyway, just want to tell you, my life was cleansed by being immersed in shit. Thank you.